I still remember that afternoon, the day I tried on my wedding suit in our little sunlit house. Everything felt perfect. Rachel's laughter, the smell of grilled meat drifting through the kitchen window, the white dress hanging loosely on the chair. Then my phone rang. It was my mother. Her voice trembled, thick with alcohol. "Son, would it be all right if I brought him to your wedding?" I froze. Him, another man, someone new. A name I didn't know. A face I'd never seen. I said quietly, "No, Mom, I don't think that's a good idea." She gave a short, hollow laugh. "You think I can't behave? You think I'll ruin your big day?" I didn't answer, because the truth was I was afraid. Afraid of the slurred voice, the glass breaking, the apologies that always came too late. Afraid of the woman who once left me by the window on a rainy night, waiting for her to come home. 15 years had passed. I thought I had made peace with her absence. But when she asked that question, I realized some wounds never close, they just wait for the happiest day of your life to bleed again. Mornings in Vermont have this strange stillness that makes you forget time exists. Soft sunlight drips through fog, falling across the old wooden porch like liquid gold. I sat by the window, coffee cooling in my hand, watching dew cling to the grass. In the living room sat a photo of my parents, still framed, still smiling, untouched by years. My mother was beautiful once. In that picture, she leans into my father's shoulder, her eyes bright with hope. When I was a kid, I once asked him, was she happy back then? He looked at the photo for a long time before whispering, maybe once. They divorced when I was 7. After that, she vanished from my life. I stayed with Dad, and later with my stepmother, a quiet, gentle woman who baked apple pies that smelled like home. Mom, she kept chasing men, chasing promises, drowning herself in liquor and regret. 15 years later, I still kept my distance. I sent gifts, made polite calls, but avoided seeing her. Each time we spoke, she talked about a new man, another fresh start. I didn't argue. I'd learned silence was safer. That morning, my sister Emily called. "You know Mom's dating again, right? Some bartender from the next town. He's 10 years younger." I forced a laugh. Of course she is, but deep down I knew it wouldn't end well. The house was silent except for the ticking clock. Outside, rows of wooden chairs were already set up for my wedding next month. I was marrying Rachel, the first woman who made me believe love didn't have to hurt. And maybe that's why I couldn't let ghosts from the past show up that day. But life rarely lets you off that easy. That afternoon, the phone rang. Mom again. Her voice was shaky, drunk even at midday. "Ethan, I heard from Emily you're getting married. I'm happy for you, sweetheart. I just want to know, can I bring Mark?" Mark, another name for another stranger. I took a long breath. "I don't think that's a good idea, Mom." Silence. Then a bitter laugh. "You still can't forgive me, can you?" I didn't answer, because forgiveness had never been the problem. It was trust. That night I lay awake listening to the rain tapping against the roof. Rachel slept soundly beside me, her warmth steady, her breathing calm. But in my head I could still hear Mom's voice. "Can't you forgive me, Ethan?" She'd said that same line 100 times. When I was 18 and she called me drunk, crying about another breakup. When I was 25, asking to make peace. And now at 33, on the eve of my wedding. But what exactly was I forgiving her for? For the night she called me names because I didn't understand her pain. For the time she passed out drunk in the car, leaving me crying outside the parking lot until morning. Or for the day she slept with my brother's best friend and told me I should learn to grow up. I tried to forget. But forgetting isn't forgiving. It's just a way to survive. The next day I drove to the flower shop to finalize the wedding arrangements. While signing papers, my phone buzzed. "Emily again. She's mad, Ethan. Says you're ashamed of her." I sighed. "And what else did she say?" "That you treat her like a stranger. That you can invite Dad, your stepmom, even her husband, but not let Mom bring her partner." I gave a hollow laugh. "Partner? She really said that?" "Yeah, she says Mark helps her stay sober. Emily, she said the same about the last 4. Emily didn't argue. We both knew the truth. That evening I came home. Rachel was picking music for the ceremony. The warm light painted her hair gold. She turned to me, smiled softly. "I heard your mom called. Everything okay? She wants to bring her boyfriend." She hesitated. If it makes her happy, maybe that's not so bad." I looked out the window. The sky had gone dark. I'm not afraid of her being happy, I said. I'm afraid of her being drunk. Rachel didn't speak. But her eyes said everything. Compassion, sadness, understanding. That night I wrote an email to Mom. No anger, no accusation. Just rules. You can bring Mark, but he's not to be called my stepfather. No photos with the family. And please, don't drink. I hit send at 11 p.m. 10 minutes later, my phone rang. Her voice cracked through the speaker. You don't have to be afraid of me, Ethan. I've changed. You'll see, this time is different. I wanted to believe her. But faith doesn't grow back once it's been burned to ash. 2 days later, she texted, if you don't want to meet at my place, I'll come to your favorite cafe. Just 5 minutes, I promise. I almost ignored it. But something about her message, Mom just wanting 5 minutes, felt like a plea from another time. I showed up that afternoon. The snow had just stopped falling. The cafe door creaked open and warmth hit my face. The smell of roasted beans mixed with slow jazz and the soft murmur of strangers' lives. She was sitting by the window. Her hair was grayer, her face thinner, but her eyes, those same wild, fragile eyes, still held that dangerous hope. And next to her sat a man. 40-something, rough jacket, unshaven, dark circles under his eyes. Ethan, this is Mark, Mom said softly. I nodded. Hi. He extended a hand. I shook it, cold, damp. She's talked a lot about you, he said. I know this isn't easy. It's not your problem, I replied. Mom sighed, pulling out a photo envelope. I wanted you to see this. Inside was a picture of her and Mark with a small dog at a lakeside park. They looked happy. See, I'm trying, Ethan, I really am. Mark's helped me stop drinking. I swear I said nothing. Because lies don't sound different after a while, they just sound tired. Mark folded his hands, voice gentle. I'm not trying to replace anyone. I just want her to be okay. I met his gaze. Being okay isn't the same as pretending nothing happened. The air thickened. Mom's voice broke the silence. Why do you always look at me like that? Because, Mom, I said quietly. I remember being the kid who waited for you on the porch at 3 a.m., wearing a wet coat while you were at a bar with someone else. She froze. So did Mark. I stood up, left a few dollars by the untouched cup of coffee. I don't hate you, I said. I'm just tired. Her voice followed me as I walked out. You'll regret this, Ethan. One day you'll see! I didn't turn back. Outside, snow began to fall again. Soft, steady, erasing footprints before they could mean anything. Through the window's fogged glass, I saw her bury her face in her hands. And Mark just sat there watching me leave as if he knew he was part of something already doomed. 2 weeks left until the wedding. The house buzzed with sound, hammering laughter, Rachel's voice drifting from the garden. Everything looked perfect, but in my head something kept breaking. A sound that didn't belong here, glass shattering. It was from years ago. A winter night. I was 10. Mom and her second husband were fighting. She threw a wine glass at the wall, it shattered. I ran down the stairs. A shard cut my hand. She didn't even notice. She just sat there, crying, whispering, why does everyone leave me? After seeing her at the cafe, I couldn't sleep. I wanted to believe she'd stay sober. Then Emily texted, Ethan, Mom's drinking again. I drove to her apartment. The hallway lights flickered like dying stars. Mark opened the door looking exhausted. She's drunk, he said quietly. I tried to stop her. Inside, the smell hit me, liquor, smoke, wilted flowers. Mom was on the couch, a bottle on the floor. She smiled weakly. Ethan, my boy! I was just celebrating your big day. The photo frame beside her was cracked, the one with me and her. I picked it up, glass slicing my finger. Blood mixed with dust. Mark stepped closer. Please go easy on her. I glared at him. You don't understand. This isn't new. It's been 20 years of this. Mom sat up, swaying. You always judge me. You think you're better. You think you're clean. I bit back the words, clawing up my throat. I'm not here to fight, I said. I'm here to tell you, if you come to the wedding, stay sober. I can't handle another scene. She laughed, a hollow, broken sound. You're scared I'll ruin your perfect little day. Ethan, without me, you wouldn't even exist. I turned to leave, but Mark stopped me. Let her finish, he said softly. Mom stumbled closer, gripping my shirt. Her breath burned of whiskey. You know what your father did? He made me sign the papers to give you up. I traded my son for this apartment. He took you away from me, I froze. What? Tears spilled down her face. I begged him. But he wanted you to hate me so you'd love him more. For the first time I saw her not as the monster of my childhood, but as a wrecked human being, drowning in guilt. I wanted to comfort her. But all I could do was walk out the door. Behind me another glass shattered. And with it the last piece of us. I didn't sleep that night. The morning light came pale and cold through the curtains, cutting across Rachel's face as she lay beside me. I stared at the ceiling, hearing my mother's words over and over. I signed those papers. I lost everything because of you. Rachel turned toward me, her hand resting on my chest. Another nightmare? I nodded. She hesitated. Emily called. She told me what happened last night. I didn't respond. Rachel's voice softened. So, are you still going to let her come? Outside, frost coated the window pane. The world looked peaceful, clean. Nothing like the chaos in my head. I said quietly, I used to think time could fix distance. That if I stayed away long enough, everything would fade. But it doesn't. It just scabs over. Hand waits to split open again. Rachel leaned her head against me. Maybe you should write her, she said. Not to forgive her. Just to say what you've never said. That afternoon, I sat at the old wooden desk and began to write. Every word felt like bleeding on paper. Mom, I don't hate you. I just don't know how to love you without fear. When I think of you, I hear glass breaking more than I remember laughter. Maybe you've suffered more than I ever knew. But I lost something too. My sense of safety, my childhood. If you come to the wedding, please come sober. Come as my mother, not as your shadow. I sealed the letter, drove to her building. The door was locked, curtains drawn. I was about to slide the envelope under the door when Mark appeared at the end of the hall. He looked like he hadn't slept in days. I tried, he said, voice trembling. I really did. But this morning she just left? She said she was going to apologize to you. I thought she'd come here. I raced home. Rachel was on the porch holding a crumpled envelope. Someone left this for you. It was Mom's handwriting. Messy, smudged. Ethan, I'm sorry. I just wanted to see you. If you don't want to, I'll stay away. I'll still come to the wedding, but I'll stand in the back. I promise I won't drink. If I can't keep that promise, I'll leave. Forever. I read the words again and again until they blurred. Rachel sat beside me. What will you do? I stared at our wedding invitation on the table, the line printed in gold. Family and friends are welcome to witness our new beginning. I whispered. Maybe peace doesn't come from running. Maybe it comes from facing what's left. Outside, wind swept through the trees, scattering brown leaves like warnings from the sky. I knew that whatever happened next, it wouldn't be a normal wedding. The morning of the wedding came wrapped in mist. Vermont looked like a painting. Pale light, slow breath, the kind of silence that holds its own weight. I stood before the mirror, adjusting my tie, forcing a smile. Rachel came up behind me, placed her hands on my shoulders. Are you okay? I nodded. But I wasn't. Her letter had haunted me all night. If I can't keep my promise, I'll leave forever. Guests began to arrive. Laughter, music, the smell of wine and pine needles in the cold air. Emily whispered in my ear, She's here. Left side, last row. With Mark, I looked. There she was, in a pale blue dress, hair pinned up, eyes searching for me. For a second, she looked almost peaceful. When Rachel walked down the aisle, Mom smiled through tears. For a moment, I let myself believe it would be okay, but fate doesn't honor promises. Halfway through the reception, I heard raised voices near the bar. Mark was arguing with a waiter over wine. Before I could react, Emily ran up, panic on her face. Ethan, Mom's drinking. I turned. She stood in the garden, a glass of red wine trembling in her hand. Mark tried to take it away. She pushed him. Leave me alone. It's my son's wedding. I deserve to celebrate. I grabbed her wrist, lowered the glass. Mom, stop, please, you promised. Her eyes glistened, her lips quivering. Just one sip, Ethan. One sip to feel normal again. Can't you let me be happy just once? Guests were staring now. Rachel's face was pale. I whispered, Go home, Mom, please. She looked at me, and in that moment her voice broke. You're just like your father, cold. You can't see I'm dying inside. Mark led her away. She didn't fight him this time. The music started again, but to me it was all noise, muted, distant. Rachel smiled for photos. her fingers intertwined with mine, but her eyes told the truth. She was afraid for me. When the night finally ended, Emily came running with a small envelope. "She left this for you," she said. "The handwriting wasn't Mom's, it was Dad's, a letter, sealed 15 years ago." I tore it open, my heart pounding. "Ethan, if you're reading this, I'm gone. Your mother didn't give you up because of the drinking. I made her sign those papers. I was afraid you'd grow up in her chaos. I was wrong. She begged me not to take you, but I couldn't forgive her. If you can, please do what I couldn't. Dad." The paper trembled in my hands. Rachel knelt beside me, wrapped her arms around my shoulders. She whispered, "Forgiveness isn't about forgetting the past. It's about not letting it own you." I buried my face in her hair and murmured, "But what if she never forgave herself?" Rachel didn't answer. She just held me tighter, silence becoming its own kind of prayer. 3 days later, Vermont was covered in frost. The sky looked heavy, the air full of snow waiting to fall. Rachel and I were in the garden, cleaning up what was left of the wedding, dead petals, fallen chairs, memories that refused to stay buried. My phone rang. A number I didn't know. "This is Mark," the voice said, rough, broken. I froze. "What happened?" He paused for a long time. "She's gone, Ethan." The world fell silent. Even the wind stopped. "She left after the wedding," he said softly. "Said she wanted to walk by the lake. When I came back, she was sitting on a bench holding a photo of you and your dad. She looked peaceful. I couldn't speak." Rachel's hand found mine, gripping tight. "She didn't suffer," Mark continued. "The police think it was a stroke. Maybe the cold, maybe the wine. But she had this envelope with your name. 2 days later, I received it. Her handwriting, shaky, smudged. I unfolded it with trembling hands. Ethan, you'll probably hate me forever, and that's okay. But please don't hate yourself. Your father was a good man, but he never understood that I tried. Every time I drank, it wasn't to forget you. It was because I couldn't bear remembering you as a little boy. I once promised to protect you, and I broke that promise. This time I'll keep it. I'll go so you can be free. Don't come looking for me. Just believe I loved you in my own broken way." The ink had bled through the paper. I read it again and again until the words blurred into stains. That evening I drove to the lake. Snow blanketed everything. The benches, the frozen water, the sky itself. I sat where she had sat, holding her letter and Dad's side by side. 2 ghosts that had never met until now. Rachel joined me, sitting quietly. Her breath misted in the cold. After a long silence, I said, "You know, I spent my whole life trying not to be like her. And now I realize, maybe we're all just trying to love the way our parents couldn't." Rachel looked at me gently. "Maybe, but you did something they never did." "What's that?" "You stopped before you hurt someone else." I smiled, tired but lighter. A gust of wind lifted the 2 letters from my hands. They swirled into the air, spun like tiny ghosts, and landed on the lake's surface, floating, then sinking into the ice. I didn't chase them. Some things are meant to stay buried. Winter came early that year. Snow draped over the roof, the roads, the trees along the lake. I stood on the porch, watching Rachel tend to her winter roses. Everyone told her they'd die, but she kept watering them anyway. Maybe that's what separates us from the dark. We keep believing, even when there's nothing left to believe in. That night, I lit a candle in my study and took out an old photograph. Me, Mom, and Dad. We were smiling, blissfully unaware of how fragile that smile really was. The flame flickered against the glass, and I whispered, "I forgive you, Mom. Not because you deserve it, but because I want to live." Outside, snow fell heavier. Wind howled through the trees, like someone calling my name. I closed my eyes, listening to the rhythm of the storm. For the first time in years, I felt light, not happy, but free. Rachel came in, leaned her head on my shoulder. "Sometimes," she said softly, "forgiveness isn't about accepting their mistakes. It's about accepting the pain they left behind." I smiled faintly, watching the snow swallow the road to the lake. Somewhere under that ice, the letters were still there, silent, fading, and I finally understood. You're only free when you let the past go, when you forgive yourself first. The candle went out. Silence filled the room. Outside, the snow kept falling, soft, steady, and at peace.